Take her away, Reg.
10 minutes, take her away. Welcome to DemoCamp14. Sarah Blue's on vacation, trying to become a Bollywood movie star. John Bristow has been banished to Edmonton. We'll do this without them. Great sponsor on board, Sean Abbott from Inovia Capital. If you need some money and you're an entrepreneur, you got something to pitch, go see Sean. First up, Mark Rosenberger, who's demonstrated about a year ago.
I think it was the first
at
one.
The first one.
It used to be SideFinder, and now it's called Tagle, Tagle.it. It used to be an Outlook plugin, but now it's evolved into much more than that.
What are you going to show today, and how can the community help you?
The latest version of the product, and the community can help if you guys want to sign up for the beta. We'll be releasing it soon. Test it out, give it a shot.
10 minutes starts now. Go right ahead.
Tagle is an information connector. Now, we have lots of information, stuff on our hard drive, but increasingly more and more things are being pushed online. We got Facebook messages, Twitter messages, photo sharing sites, file sharing sites, just a number of things that get pushed online here that we all use, and the problem with that is it becomes extremely fragmented. So if we can't remember where we put something, we have to log into multiple accounts to find it. When we organize something in each application, we have an exclusive set of folders to do that. Outlook has its own folders, Firefox has its own, your files have their own, and again, all that stuff online like Gmail labels. None of these folders talk to each other, so if you want to organize information, you have to do it exclusive to each application that you use. It's really tough to share it, to switch it around between applications. Let me just give you an example of what I mean by that. Putting a photo on Facebook, load up your browser, log into Facebook, navigate to your photos link, go to the album, then browse to the file if you can remember where it is, all through those folder trees, and then of course upload it. And if you want to do that more than to just one site, you got to do that multi-step process many times. These are the problems that we're trying to solve here with Tagle. One of them is that we're going to connect all this information together so that it can be searched as if it were in one place. Then we're not going to store it anywhere else. We're just going to connect it together in a really large database. We don't have to log in all these different places to find our stuff. The second thing is that we're going to connect all these categories together into one global category set, so I can link a web page to a file, to a Facebook message, all using the same category. So organizing is going to make it a lot easier. And the third thing, probably the coolest part of this demo, is that we're going to be able to share information a lot easier. We got a search window on the right and a sidebar on the left containing all these different categories. Now, the search window, you can search for all your stuff together using a number of different fields here. We got description, which is the subject of a message or the name of a file. We have the person from who the message was sent, the date, the path, the folder path, and of course the source of where that information came. Tagle is built on a plugin architecture. If we want to add other data stores to this, we simply build more plugins to do it. Currently we have 5 different plugins. We can pull in everyone's Twitter messages, your Facebook messages, Firefox bookmarks, your delicious bookmarks, and of course your files. We just keep adding plugins as we go along if you want to expand the sphere of this search. Let's say I want to find all my messages from my friend Tom. I can just type in a few letters of his last name, and then there's everything I have that Tom ever tweeted from Twitter and stuff that he has on Facebook. You know, I double click on one of those things, it goes straight to that source of information. I can further constrain this search by other things, like let's say I just wanted to see everything by the 27th of April, constrain it by the subject as well. So in just a few keystrokes here, I've gotten down from literally tens of thousands of things to just a couple things that I'm interested in. So we can use just basic data search here on the right-hand side, but we can also browse things by categories. And these categories or tags are all the folders that you have in every information store that you got combined. So let's say I wanted to find all the things that are pretty cool. I'll just type in cool, and I have this tag in front of me, and there's a little filter button right here. Click on that, and there's everything that I have that's related to cool. There's delicious bookmarks, Firefox, Twitter, Facebook, files. All this stuff is together in one place, so I don't have to go and log into multiple places and search through multiple folders. It's just one single category. Now, people hear tagging and they think, oh, wow, it's a lot of work. I got to do a lot of tagging. And that's not so with Tagle. Basically, we've combined all those folders that you already have and put those into one global category set. This web page here, let's tag this thing with DemoCamp. All I have to do is search for that tag, and I check this box, and this web page is now tied to this category. You can see here on the sidebar that whatever I select over here in this application is shown here in the selection indicator. The sidebar interacts with whatever application that you're using as if it were a part of that application. It's not really a separate thing. That's cool. I just tagged this web page with DemoCamp. Maybe I want to also link this to photos. So I can go over into Explorer here, select a thumbnail, that's a really good shot there. And I can also use that same tag, DemoCamp, to link to that photo. Another data source, maybe there's a couple of Facebook messages that I wanted to link to that photo, so I can just start selecting them in Facebook. And you'll see here in the sidebar, it shows me that I selected these two messages. I can go and tag that with DemoCamp if I want. So now when I filter on DemoCamp, I got all that stuff together in the same view without actually changing the location of it and organizing it right from within those applications. Again, we talked about tagging as something that, maybe that's a lot of work or whatever, but we created this special concept called taglets, which are essentially tags that do something with information. In this case, we can upload photos to Facebook and Flickr with a single click, as opposed to that multi-step process that we talked about before. Select this photo and it's already tagged with all these different things here. Let's say I want to share this thing with people on Facebook. You see these little special tags here in the sidebar. They have these special icons. These are these photo uploaders. I simply click that checkbox and boom, it's in my Facebook account. I don't have to log in, I don't have to do anything else, it's just gone into my Facebook account. Facebook's one of the places I want to share photos, but what about Flickr? Well, I simply check that box and away it goes. Now that thing's going to probably take a while to upload, so let's just go into a previous picture that I uploaded. The cool thing about Flickr is that it also uses tags, but those tags are mutually exclusive from anything that's on your hard drive. But the nice thing about Taggle is that it drags these tags from Taggle along with it, so I don't have to re-tag that stuff when it gets into Flickr. So if you're a real photo buff and you want to share your stuff on these sites, it makes it a heck of a lot easier. Taglets are not just photo uploaders. You can basically do anything with a taglet, any action that you want to apply to any piece of information. So I can add a couple tags here that are of interest to me. Let's add that DemoCamp tag again. If I want to share this over on Twitter, I simply check this box. It shrinks down that long URL to this, and it also adds that DemoCamp tag. Why add tags to the tweet? Well, it's advantageous and if you want your tweet to be found on Twitter. Now, if I just go and refresh the search here, you'll see this DemoCamp thing that I just uploaded as a tweet. I click on DemoCamp, and now I can see all those things that are related to DemoCamp. That's the advantage of tagging in Twitter. In addition to that, because we have this Twitter plugin, all those tags that you saw there in Twitter are also imported into Taggle. So if I want to see something that's interesting to me, I can just start selecting things in Taggle, and I can see all these tags in the sidebar. I don't actually even have to read my tweets. I can just see something that's really interesting, click on the filter, and there we go.
Any interesting applications for music?
My music is actually in here if I want to search for it. Creating playlists with tags, pulling in automatically tags of the albums, the artists, and all that other stuff. It's music.taggle.it. Definitely want to do something like that. But right now we're just trying to keep it broad to things like Facebook and Twitter.
Can you speak to the browser integration?
The Firefox add-on installs as soon as you install Taggle.
Monetization.
We're building this thing on a plugin architecture, and for example, a file sharing site called Dropio, drop.io. I recently talked to the CEO of that, and it's a really cool service. It allows you to upload all these files into a common drop, invite people to share that drop. You can add notes, you can add email. It's an awesome service, but getting that stuff into Dropio is actually the same thing as getting into Facebook. It's a multi-step process. So what I suggested to him is that we build a Dropio taglet, one click, boom, it's in their account. You can drag all the metadata with it, and that could drive traffic to their premium accounts. He said, yeah, cool, right on, let's do a revenue sharing agreement. So I really want to do a lot of B2B stuff like that. There's a tons of options here for a revenue model. Really, it all depends on users. If you got like a million people that are using it, you could do advertising if you wanted to. You could sell things like these plugins at a buck a piece, like iPhone apps. If I can be a platform on which other people distribute information, that would be a really good revenue source.
You share your tag associations with other people?
Definitely. So this thing's integrated into Delicious, the online social bookmarking thing where you can share tags with people. Delicious tags are automatically synchronized with your Firefox tags, so anything that I tag in Taggle gets pushed to my Delicious account, which I can then share with other people. And as you've seen in the demo here, I'm sharing my tags with people on Twitter, so I can add value to what people see on Twitter.
Windows only at this point?
It's Windows only, but a lot of people on Mac have asked me about this, so definitely on the list. All right, thanks.
Now seems like a good time to introduce Andrew. Andrew demoed at the February demo camp. He's got something called Guest Reel in the back, akin to the confessional booth that you would see on these reality shows where you get up in front of a camera, sing, swear, whatever you want to do. Give them your feedback about demo camp. So next up we have Bruno. Bruno, I believe you're one of the organizers behind one of the gaming groups in town, aren't you, Bruno?
Level Up Society is a nonprofit organization that we started to try and connect indie game developers in the community in the Calgary local area with industry professionals, get Calgary thinking about video games in Calgary.
If I'm a second-year student, I'm interested in video games, is this the right group for me?
If you want to go register for levelupsociety.com, you connect with guys like Steve Shatford of Games Cafe and other people like John Lamb.
Tell us what you're going to be demoing and how the community can help you.
The Fabler, basically like YouTube meets Threadless.com for comic books. And we just launched it on Friday in time for the Comic Expo, and I guess I'm just looking for a bit of feedback and potentially some interested investors.
10 minutes, take her away, Bruno.
Right now, what you're seeing is a social networking portion of the site where enthusiasts can go take a look at comics from local artists that have uploaded their stuff. The one that you see first and foremost is called Snow Angel. It's by a company called Black Sheep Studios, graceful enough to upload the first comic on the site. As it stands right now, it's just social networking, so you can go and take a look at comics. We try to make the user interface as simple as possible because a lot of artists in town or in Montreal and other cities aren't always computer centric. There's two different types of comics. You can view mature comics, you can view non-mature comics. We wanted to make sure that all eyes for a specific material is okay for the viewers. So let's go take a look at Snow Angel here. It's built in a Flash viewer, and we wanted to make sure that because we're dealing with art, specific IP to guys who really love what they do, we wanted to make sure that everything was secure. So we used a database to kind of store all the images. We're using a regular LAMP stack hosted on Amazon's EC2 services. And none of these images, regardless of whether you're using dev tools or whatever, can actually be pulled off of the server. The only way you can get the images, if you really want to make a PDF and torrent the comic, if you screen cap the whole thing. There's supposed to be controls down at the bottom where you can go into full screen and actually take a look at the entire comic so you can read the captions. It might be big enough. This comic is about a girl who's basically the daughter of a drug lord down in Bogota. If you like the comic, you can go down here and you can see rate this comic. I've already rated, so I can't rate again, but you can give it 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever and go ahead and make a comment. So I'm going to make a comment for DemoCamp. And my comment shows down at the bottom there. We tried to segregate all the comments, so each comment that gets put up there, you can actually distinguish the two so it doesn't get all muddled up. Later on this year, we're going to be launching a Threadless.com model for the site. We're partnered up with my cousin's company and a friend of his who owns publishing and printing companies down in the States, where we're going to be offering a direct-to-market service, print on demand for comic artists so that they can publish and distribute directly to their customers, directly to retailers, have bulk orders shipped directly to Comic-Cons when they're going down there, kind of cut out the middleman and become an alternative for indie publishers or indie comic artists.
If I went to your site, can I sign up for it?
We are in beta because we're dealing with some issues with the Flash viewer and whatnot. But yeah, you can go ahead, take a look at comics, sign up. It's fairly easy. All you need is a username, a password, and your email.
I went to your site earlier today. It worked great, actually. The controls worked. But what does it look like to an artist that comes to it and wants to submit content?
If I'm an artist, I can go ahead and I can submit a comic details, put in a title, put in your synopsis. There's a mature rating right there. We categorize it by different categories that you might see in the comic industry. Basically, you upload your cover image and your comic pages. If you have more than one page, you can keep adding and keep adding and keep adding until your 300-page comic is up. We do limit it to 2 megabytes per file, and currently we're actually thinking about limiting that even smaller. And we're actually looking at different ways to cater to both the webcomic industry as well as the print industry.
Do you guys actually take a cut?
The on-demand service, we haven't announced anything yet. We are exploring sort of the business model behind that. Yeah, we would probably take some percentage, but again, I can't really go into details as for what that might be.
Is there a subscription fee for the users? And if they're Creative Commons licensed comics, is it only the artists that can upload it, or can other people upload something?
We don't take any sort of rights for any of the comics that end up going up there. And as far as the subscription fee, no, it's all free. Thanks, guys.
All right, and now a word from our sponsors. So Sean Abbott, come on up.
So Inovia is a seed and early stage venture capital fund, and I'm the Western General Partners. I have the best job in the world. I get to look for great startup companies. In addition to my own wallet, I have some OPM. Does everyone know what that is? Other people's money. some other people's money to work as an investor. So, typically we will, invest in a company in multiple stages over a multiple year period to help get it to an exit, which in this market doesn't exist, but hopefully in 3 to 5 years there will be a great market for IPOs, for trade sales for companies, and so on and so forth. My own background's in the IT space. Like my partners have experience in the life sciences and energy technology.
How much of other people's money do you have?
About $100 million, and we're looking for investments that can tenfold over a period of time. So high leverage opportunities where, a few $1 million, and we'll put anywhere from 1 to, over the life of a company, 5 or even at the most $10 million to grow a company. The kinds of opportunities where there's a real high leverage return on that capital. So it's not a bank, right? It's not like going to get a loan.
And today you're going to show us one of the companies that you funded.
We've recently funded a couple of companies here in Calgary, Coolidge Systems, who you may have heard of. They do the liquid cooling for PCs, and that's really taken off. It's a lot of fun. And Tint Multimedia. So Derek and Dayton, they've been around town for a while. And, in both cases, with Coolidge, people like Jeff Lyon, people like Derek, we invest in the people first, right? So that's the main thesis for any kind of investing. But I want to just quickly show you what Tint's about, because if you've heard the story before, it's completely changed. Tint.com. Kind of hard to type at the same time. That was awkward. You're an online publisher, you're a media company, you're pissed off that everyone's stealing your content, your heavily invested articles, your research, your work, and they're sharing it all over without compensating you. On the other hand, you love the fact that your creative work is getting out there on the web. And frankly, you'd just like a chance to know, where is it going? How is it getting there? You'd like to get credit. You'd like to get people to come back to your site for more. You'd like search engines to notice that content is all yours originally. So Tint isn't about trying to protect the content. It says, hey, information is free. It's going to get out there, but can we keep track of it? This is a lesson that Derek and Dayton, the entrepreneurs, really learned in talking to some early customers. And that's a key point, actually, for any of you entrepreneurs in the audience, is that the true mark of agility is being able to identify changes in market demand as you're building the business. You have to know when to stay focused on your plan and when to adapt. What this is doing is just showing us thumbnails of sites which have incorporated Tint's tracer product. About 9 weeks ago, we threw an alpha out there. Very simple, technically, little product, a line of JavaScript that you incorporate into the frame of your site, which then is able to monitor what users are doing on the site. This is just kind of a running total as of today. The tracer product has monitored about 2/3 of a trillion words being copied from sites that have incorporated the product. These are examples. I can, pull up any one. A lot of them, by the way, are now from Vietnam and from China. We don't even have multi-byte support yet. These guys are incorporating it. More than 50 publishers a day are finding this website, incorporating the product, and deploying it live on their websites. No marketing, purely viral. So we've tapped into some kind of a pain. They're not sure what yet, but there's a clear driver behind the adoption. And if I click on it, then of course it goes through to that site. And the text that was originally copied is highlighted to show the context. Everybody knows Tech Vibes, I guess, in this community. Would that be a good example? Now Rob has incorporated Tracer. He was an early adopter. So if I select a paragraph, copy it, lots of social recommendation sites out there. Self-selecting. Only technocrats are going to sign up, install a plugin, or even go to a site like a Dig or Stumble Upon or what have you. So you're only getting a narrow cross-section. The majority of people actually share web content by copy and pasting it. They go to an email and then they paste it in. So they do just what I've just done. You select a couple paragraphs and paste it. Look what happens, however, there's an attribution link added to the bottom of my text. That wasn't in the original. Nothing on this machine, right? Nothing in the browser, no plugin. The fact that you did that from Tech Vibes, it automatically puts the attribution link in. And as Michael's just noticed, there's a TinyURL type link here that can trace it back. So I've sent the email to Mike. He's received the email. More people click on referred content, on shared links than any other kind of social recommendation. And how often does this happen? Billions of times a day. Most of us do it every single day. So sites being able to monitor this natural user behavior have a 3 orders of magnitude advantage over any community that you're trying to grow for that explicit purpose, because you're watching all user behavior. From the sites we've deployed on so far, which is about 2,000 websites have found Tint and incorporated it as of today, between 1 and 2% incremental traffic, new viewers coming back.
Does it actually log anything on the copy event?
Yeah, it logs a select as a user engagement event. When you make a copy, it logs that. It logs those on the Tint servers, which is now a cluster of 8 clusters at Amazon Elastic Compute Center and S3. It's like adding a cluster every week. The effective traffic on Tint now is over 150 million page views a month. As of this morning, it's growing at 20% per week.
In that Word document, is the user free to remove that attribute?
Yeah, it's not copy protection. It's not, invading your machine. Most people are happy to have a useful reference back to the content. I mean, if you want to delete it, of course, it's not going to try and stop you from doing that. Let's go now, though, to the publisher experience. Guy Kawasaki is one of the bloggers that uses this. So here's Guy's dashboard. He can see what people are doing on his site. 9% of the page views resulted in a user engagement action, which means someone copied some text or they selected some text. About 50% of selections turn into a copy, interestingly. You can see those basic stats. You can see a nice little animation of what's happening. Word map there of most popular words. People love to read Guy Kawasaki stuff, something to do with jobs, LinkedIn, people, companies. Those are the subjects that are most popular. And if you just scan down page by page, most of these sites that will monitor your page traffic don't have any granularity. They can only view page by page. So you can see page by page here, but then you can see on the page which one was the most engaging for users. Out of that, which one generated, how many copies? Do people copy content off? Do they copy it to another blog, whatever? And how much traffic back does he generate? Here's one that kind of stands out. Even though it has relatively few people copying stuff, 88 people copied stuff in the last week, more than half those copies got sent out to a blog or an email or something and then created a link back again. That's a remarkable percentage, over half. What page is that? 10 ways to use LinkedIn to find a job. What search engine terms should Guy be using to drive traffic to his site now? Totally different than when he only knew what pages people were spending most time on, do you see? Because now you're monitoring people's natural user behavior and you can see the flow of content on the internet. Where is your content going? What's being done with it? And when it shows up on other blogs and other sites, search engines are now starting to pick that up as well, so it increases your SEO. So for the publisher, they're starting to get more link juice and broader link juice back to their site.
Do you store the IP addresses of the people that cut and paste it?
We don't want to be in a situation where we could be served a warrant to produce that. So the thinking right now is we don't actually want to store any user identifiable information. Publishers, by the way, are asking us, I want to be able to drill down. I want to be able to isolate communities. I want to see by geography. I want to dice and slice. And that looks like where the premium model revenue comes from. They want to be able to modify the link back. They want to be able to customize the text. Some talk about ads. We don't think advertising is a part of this revenue model for Tint yet. We're still wrestling with that. There's lots of uses of information, right? It seems odd in hindsight that no one else has tracked this kind of thing. No one has watched what's happening to the content. But remember, the purpose is to figure out what content has value. The publisher can then go to advertisers and say, look, here's the content with value.
Does it have to be in the content? Like if you select the URL, does that count?
A lot of people have asked for doing the same thing with the URL. We have some code that does that. We're not quite sure yet if that makes sense. It probably ends up turning the URL into a unique one that can then be traced back. If you think about it, that is a slightly different thing. So it's not doing that today. Could do that. There's a lot of other things it can do. Right now, this is the germ of an idea.
Tint was completely different a year ago.
Tint was all about annotating content in order to be able to give publishers a tool to engage users more deeply, to be able to monetize traffic. What they found when they went and talked to social networks is it was too little too late. It's a very hard business to monetize pure social networks. It can be done. We've got, Nexopia is a great example here in Alberta. And they were a great pilot site, and they like it, and there were some legs there. But when they really went and listened carefully, this is the agility I was talking about, to CanWest Media, to the Globe and Mail, to some Canadian publishers who were doing pilots. What they said universally was, we need to understand the value of our content, and that's what drove in this direction.
Does it meet specific browser?
I've never seen this computer in my life. It's JavaScript. It's like Google Analytics. It's got to be a JavaScript compliant browser.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
I want to talk about a few events. MJ, can I put you on the spot here?
At the end of May, I'm actually running a camp iPhone dev school. So it's anyone who wants to figure out how in just 2 days to build an iPhone app, get it deployed, figure out how to get it, basically test and get rid of memory leaks, all that stuff you need to figure out how to push it to the App Store. And so anyone who kind of emails me through DemoCamp, 20% off as well.
What about Startup School? I know you just finished a session last weekend.
Okay, so the next Startup School is actually September 26th, 27th. So in the fall or whatever. The way I think about it is it's basically 2 days, and it's not really about trying to inspire you with like getting guys that have become multimillionaires come up and you get all jazzed up by the end of it or whatever. But it's more about saying, okay, look, I've been in business for 12 years. I've got 6 startups. Here's every single document I've ever had. Here's every financing package I've ever created and ever have delivered to me. I've also invested in 17 companies. So, well, the whole point of it is actually come in and figure out, do you understand the difference between company discovery and company building? Do you understand how to put together your financing package? Do you understand if your idea is actually scalable or not? So what I love about it is actually it's always around 9 or 10 of us, and everyone learns so much even from the other people in the course, and we do it all under NDA. That's why everyone becomes so kind of open and transparent with sharing. So I kind of view it as that it should probably save you somewhere between 3 months and 12 months of time just by even getting the package of documents.
There's some graduates from your startup school here. Can you guys put up your hands? How many of you guys? And honest feedback here, worth your time and money?
Amazing. Change the way I'll go forward with my business. So thank you, actually. Awesome.
Get your beer later, man. Yeah. Right on. How much is the course again, by the way?
About $1,000, and the proceeds go back to a startup. All the alumni that come through, they all have a chance of getting that pool of cash. So the idea is really more about community building. But I've tried doing it before without charging anyone, and that totally failed. People didn't show up. No one took it very seriously or whatever. So instead I charge, but then the cash basically goes back minus like room charge or whatever, back to a startup.
The other thing that we have to plug is the Web Strategy Summit, which I will be appearing at. That's May 5th here in Calgary. Anything else in Calgary?
I'm Duncan Kinney. I sometimes contribute to Tech Vibes. I put up a massive post yesterday. There's like 6 or 7 events going on in the next 5 weeks.
Next up, we have TouchMetric.
Well, we're demoing our TouchMetric application, which is like an iPhone surveying tool. It came out of a need of our other business that will need to do some market research. And how the community can help is you can start by downloading it on your iPhone app and giving it a go and giving us some feedback.
10 minutes, take her away.
If anyone wants to follow along with this demo on their iPhone or iPod Touch, they're more than welcome to jump onto the iTunes store and search for Surveyor. He's logged into the Surveyor admin screen. Application's kind of really basic on the iPhone. It's meant to be that way. They're going to hand them out to someone that doesn't need to see a lot. So they're going to be doing the market research for you. There's not a lot of options. There's nothing to screw up. So an administrator will go into the website and create an account, and once they're on the website, they can create a new survey. So here Sean's going to create a new survey called DemoCamp YYC. Super easy to create questions and edit the survey. You just hit a couple buttons and you can make a survey in a matter of minutes that will be pretty in-depth. Various different question types, different multiple choice to choose many, text input, and as the iPhone has special keyboards for web and email, we also have special input boxes for web and email. We'd like to do audio recordings so you can actually interview someone with long answers, because it's really difficult for people that have never used an iPod before to kind of get the touch screen. There's different things like required questions to make sure that they answer them. There's conditionals, there's randomized order of options and all that stuff that you normally see in a survey tool. The devices page will let you add your device. You can have a team of 10 researchers that each have an iPod Touch or an iPhone, and they can all have the same survey on it. So you don't need to update the survey on every single application. They download the application, they enter a pairing code, and as soon as you enter the pairing code on your device, it should show up on the website. Every time the application launches, it will try to sync with the server if it has a network connection. And when it syncs, it will upload all the results that you have, and it will also download all new data if you change the survey and everything. In the background, we have Juggernaut going, so you can see that whenever a result gets submitted, it does a post back to the server, which posts back to the client saying, hey, we've got some new results. The person using it doesn't have to worry about their survey being up to date or any of that. All they see is the list of surveys they need. Each of the questions have help in case they get frustrated, don't know what to do. They can just up in the top, there's a little help button. Customize per question. So we do have a default, how do I answer this question? Oh, you hit the input boxes. But if you want to override that with some context-specific help for a question, maybe giving some background or some feedback on that question, then you can enter that there. It will try to get the GPS location. Someone else submitted a result, so you can refresh the page and you'll see some more. Eventually we want to get the reporting to show up live, so as results come in, the graphs will change in real time. You can dive into the question details. We're still working on the formatting of this. So our pricing model's wrapped around that we feel there's value from each question that's responded to. It's in a credit model, so people can buy chunks of credits, like 1,000 credits at a time. As results come in, they can unlock the results. We unlock per response. So if a 5-question survey will cost 5 credits to unlock the full survey or full response. If you buy 500 credits and you have a 10-question survey, you can get about 50 responses. We do export all the data to Excel and CSV, so if you want to dive into the data, you can look at all the details, which includes the time it took for each question, the GPS location, all the details you'd ever want for the question. A lot of that information we're actually not showing just because we need to build some of the interfaces for it still.
How does this compare to Frogmetric?
Frogmetrics is a very similar product. They charge very differently. They will loan you the devices for about $400 a pop a month. You're allowed to do unlimited responses on their devices. They're using Nokia devices with a custom framework, where we're using, we could buy iPod Touch for $200 and off you go. There's no custom stuff you have to do at all.
The iPod, iPhone is a device that people are used to, so they know how to use it. Where the Nokia device, custom firmware, it's a device that's harder to replace, you can't just wander down to Future Shop and pick one up.
What's the typical use case?
We have other people interest for inspections for homes, but so far it's been market research companies who want to send events teams out and do intercept surveys on the street. Other use case would be I own a restaurant and it's at the till, so when I'm right when I'm paying my bill, I'm sitting around there waiting for my Interact to go through. I can just flip through and submit a feedback survey if I have any comments, that sort of stuff.
When you submitted to Apple, did they kind of grill you on what typical survey apps or what your business would be on the back end side? I mean, they're rolling out now with 3.0 a subscription ability. You could sell your points through them, but there's no reason you'd want to do that, I guess. You want to have you want to sell directly to the surveyors, right? Just tell me about that dynamics and the business model influence, if any, that Apple gave you.
Apple actually didn't, they disapproved our app a couple times, but it was mostly for little user interface things, like we had the wrong icon. They never really asked us about our business model. One reason we went with the model that we do have is with a free download on the App Store, is we want as many people to try it out as possible. And we didn't really want to give 30% to Apple. Was kind of the thought, right? Our app was launched before they did the 3.0 OS with the subscription model, which I think is an interesting idea because it would definitely simplify the code on our end.
What's your adoption like right now?
We have some interest from some pretty large market research firms that are giving it a trial run. We haven't done a big marketing push yet. We're still working on getting Internet Explorer working, which has been challenging. Once we have Internet Explorer out, we're planning on a lot bigger push and we'll have a better idea. But without advertising, we have about 55 accounts with people using it already. So we're kind of happy with the results so far.
Thank you, guys. You want to introduce this?
Yeah, let me we drove down from Edmonton today, and so we had a little idea that, we've got 3 and some odd hours to burn as we come down with a little pit stop and what have you, so we figured we'd code something on the way and see if we could build something moderately cool while on the road. So I drove and sort of spec'd out the idea, and these guys coded with Wi-Fi paired into their iPhones. Twit Clipper, we actually did absolutely everything from the moment we got in the car till we got here. So, including making that really ugly logo I did. So, I was doing driving, so I had to contribute something other than code. So I kind of helped with sort of the structure and what have you. So, Twit Clipper is a really simple thing that allows you to clip any piece of a website and send it to your Twitter account. All you do is you highlight the text, hit the bookmarklet. It'll open up a little piece of code, and you then just simply submit it to your Twitter account. Hit tweet, and bang, it's on your Twitter account. We actually did it right, too. We're not even asking for your Twitter user ID or password, because that's evil, and I just refuse to let them do that. So we're actually using their OAuth,
And the funny thing was, we actually had to download that stuff over the iPhone and install it through some proxies. There was a lot of nastiness because it just wouldn't let us install the gems and what have you. So I'm actually fairly surprised it all works. You can actually edit the tweet before you send it. Tells you the number of characters remaining. And when you hit tweet, it goes straight off to Twitter, and away you go. So something simple and fun. It will be available at twitclipper.com. We actually registered the domain and did everything, the whole thing. So I was doing that while driving. So they're coding, and I'm using my iPhone to like check domains. We were actually going to put it on eBay so that, you know, if anyone wanted to buy it before we went home, it's for sale.
That's awesome work, Reg. How about another hand for these guys? All right, Reg, so are you ready to show what you really came to show?
Yes, absolutely. So Edistorm is a brainstorming and decision-making platform. It allows groups of people, as large as you want, to brainstorm in real time, anywhere they want. So you don't have to gather everyone together in an expensive retreat down in Banff to do some brainstorming. Anyone can brainstorm directly over the web, and we use a great metaphor of stickies on a wall. It's a very visual application. And not only does it do the brainstorming part, it actually lets you get straight to decisions. So it lets you allow everyone to collaborate and rate the different ideas and come to an ultimate conclusion.
So how long have you been working on this, and how can the community help you?
For a year now. We're in private beta right now, looking to get some good feedback. I do have an invite code. Give it a shot. What we're really looking for is feedback in terms of what's right, what's not, where we're at. Is it working for you? What features you want? You know, we're doing the whole release early and often, trying to get something out there that we think is pretty solid, but we know there's a million things we want to build. We want to see what you want us to build. So
10 minutes, take her away, Reg.
I'm using not my machine. You don't need to install absolutely anything to use Edistorm. You're going to have to put up with my one-handed typing. We've got a cake baking demo. So my sister owns a cake baking company, and so we wanted to brainstorm some names for her cake baking company. So what you do is you just go in here and you type the word cake and hit enter, and it just appears on your desktop, and maybe the word sweet. This is an infinite desktop, so you can actually drag these ideas wherever you want and spatially organize them. On the bottom, we've got what's a recommendations panel, and we've built a number of what we call idea bots. So these are brainstorming with us in real time. So the word decadent comes in, so we can just drag that on the desktop. Let's say we don't like any of those ones, we can just hit ignore all. It wipes them from the slate, and we'll bring you a whole new set of them. Right now we have 7 different idea bots, everything from synonyms and antonyms, a whole array of things that are basically searching the web as well. So the green ones are actually ideas that other people have input into this storm. We can just drag them in, and the blue ones are actually ones from our bots. It basically fills up with ideas from your friends first and then fills in with bots. So we'll just hit ignore all on those again. These ideas quickly come to you and allow you to brainstorm them. You can also flip and say, hey, let's look at what Michael's layout looks like. So this is how Michael's laid out his ideas, so we can get a feel for that. You can also multiple select and stack them. So the next piece is you want to go and rate these ideas. It allows you to have multiple rating criteria and allows you to change the rating criteria. So you could have a domain that's fun, or a name that's fun, idea that's fun, creative, what have you. It also has what we call info bots, and it lets you take this idea of reactables, and it does an automatic web search for it. So you know there's only 1,980 pages about that. So you know that, oh, if we're looking for a name for a company, that's probably not bad. It also does a who is lookup in this case. So we've got a number of what we call info bots that will do automatic research on the various ideas for you. So what it does is it gives you a ranked ordered list of the various ideas. It also then allows you to say, let's change who's got what influence on this idea. So we could say, I have more influence than Jerry, and the ideas will all flip around. If there was multiple success criteria, it would do that there as well. So we also have a different kind of brainstorm, and that's an image brainstorm. It'll actually search stock photography site, search for scissors, for example. So we were looking for our Twit Clipper logo today. You drag the ones you like to the hot, the ones you don't to the cold, and it will bring you more of those that you like and less of those that you don't. We're going to seek out dandelions that are yellow. So all we'll do is we'll cold a couple of the white ones. This is a prototype, so it's not integrated into our web interface. You see this one has some yellow in it, so we're going to make that hot. We're going to click next. You'll see instantly we've got more yellow dandelions and a couple more cold ones. So we'll just hot the yellow ones. And you can see with very few iterations, without you telling you what you're looking for, they're almost all entirely yellow. This actually works very interestingly if we try that one more time. Let's imagine that we're looking for a picture of dandelions and kids. Never done this one before, so hopefully I can get this. Instantly, without you telling it what you're looking for, it's automatically bringing more of what you like and less of what you don't. I've never done that one. I'm going to do that one again. That was pretty slick. That's a bit of sort of the intelligent engine of the bots that we've got behind this that will help you brainstorm without you really doing anything on the front side. We're basically building a brainstorming platform, so it's not just about general ideas or images. It could be domain names, it could be baby names, it could be virtually anything you want to brainstorm. We've got 42 different ideas actually all stored in Edistorm of ways that we can build vertical products for this.
Have you considered spinning off the photos aside from the whole brainstorming idea? They don't seem to have much crossover between the two.
Absolutely, that's something that I think might make sense. That might be one of the vertical products where we take it out. I also think it's interesting as an integrated product in a design suite, helping designers come up with domain names, brainstorming different logo ideas, coming up with imagery. There's a whole bunch of ways we can play that.
Have affinities and begin to change colors and begin to work with it at other levels.
We actually do have sort of colors on stickies. And when you're brainstorming, sometimes you've got inspiration and sometimes you've got ideas. There's a difference. So, for example, coming up with a name for a cake baking company, my sister's company is actually now called Sweet Circumstance. But the word sweet and circumstance might be inspiration or words that might get you to a result, but it's not what you would name the company. You would color those a certain color of sticky, but you'd only rate the ones that are possible candidates. Bringing some layers between that is absolutely something that we've got in development for sure.
That image portion that you demonstrated, is that looking at meta information on those images, or could I just point that at like a directory of images and do proximity on those?
Right now it's using metadata. We're actually intending to build a number of bots to work on that. The one bot we've built works pretty amazingly well there. We're going to do color space, we're going to do shape analysis, we're going to do a number of others, but at its current state, just using the metadata, it's pretty spectacular.
Thank you.
And one of the things that we didn't get to do when you don't go around the room and introduce yourself is to talk about the individual announcements from the community. So come on up, guys.
A bunch of Edmontonians came down to Calgary. DemoCamp Edmonton is May 13th. So
May 15th.
15th?
Or May 13th, maybe.
The Tuesday in that week. Anyways.
No, the
Wednesday.
Come
on up.
Hi there, I'm Amanda from iStock Photo, which you all know and love. We are doing a usability study, open to anybody of any experience, whether you like computers, which I assume you do, or you don't, or you know Microstock, whatever. We'd love to have you out. It's going to be on May 20th. If you're interested, come see me. I'm Amanda. I've got cards, and you can email for more information. Thanks.
I'm currently working on a project called YYC Blogs. So if you have a blog and you live in Calgary, find me on Twitter. I'm at YYC Blogs is the Twitter account. So send me a DM or an @reply with your blog address and I will follow you and I will read your stuff.
Would it be a blog about Calgary you're looking for?
No, any blog. As long as you live in Calgary and you blog, that's pretty much the only prerequisite.
Last demo camp, I briefly talked about holding a wine camp. So I just wanted to quickly update everyone on that. We pushed the date out a little bit further. We're looking at probably a late May, early June type date. If you want to know more about it, you can find me on Twitter. My name is D4V. That's with the number 4. It's awesome. Check it out. And that's the only way I can tell you more.
I think that wraps it up for tonight. Thank you everyone for coming out. Reminder of the confessional booth in the back. Tell all your deepest, darkest secrets and feedback on DemoCamp with Andrew back there. And once again, I want to thank Sean Abbott and Inovia for sponsoring tonight. You're going to see the food coming out here once again. So thank you.
DemoCamp is amazing because you get to meet and greet with everyone that's in the industry, and I think that's so important. Get part of the community, get your name out there, find out what other people are doing, and get involved. I was a little nervous demoing at DemoCamp, but I think all in all it went well. Patrick gave me some really good advice, and I got some good feedback from the crowd, and I guess we're going to see where it goes.
How's it going? My name's Connor. I'm here at DemoCamp for YYC DemoCamp. Enjoying all the new products and everything that's being shown today. Some of the cool things. Just checking out Andrew Canna's guest reel here. Now it works. Great products. Good for weddings, and I guess it's good snacks.
Another great demo camp. Really appreciate the guys from Edmonton coming down. Enjoyed all the presentations. I love the little marketing app and a couple of the other ones too. But great night. Thanks for everyone who presented.
Hey, hello from DemoCamp. Just trying out guest reel. This sounds really cool, and looking forward to seeing more of it.
Ryan here, DemoCamp Calgary. I must say that I think the most potential of the night definitely came from the tiny goat farm. They had some really innovative animated GIF stuff on their website that seemed pretty cool. But now I'm here trying out this little video kiosk thing. I can definitely see some potential for this for the conference market and live events, getting feedback for promotional videos on the tail end and all that good stuff. So I'm just trying it out.
Hello, I'm Tice. Thanks for hosting DemoCamp Calgary. It was a fun time coming down. I hope everyone from Calgary comes up to the Edmonton DemoCamp and sees what a real demo camp's like. There's about 3 times as many people, and it's a great time. So, it's great to meet all these areas. Take care.
So you want to be honest to a certain degree. You want to say that really when we come to demo camp, we're secretly fail whores, and we're looking for epic fail. And it doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's beautiful. The rest of the time, it's kind of okay to be exposed to new apps at the same time. That's kind of the reason I go to any conference, is for the fail.
Hey guys, thanks for everyone who left a message on Guest Reel. I really appreciate the feedback and the user response from you guys. I also want to just throw up, I thought the guys from Edmonton were great with Touch Metrics and their Surveyor app. I thought that was a great app that they've got going, as well as their little 3-hour app that they made, Toy Clipper. Looking forward to see that tonight or tomorrow morning once the DNS resolves. So great work guys, really appreciate it. And the other demos, you guys were great too. And looking forward to the next one. See you guys later.
I know, like John's not here.